Who am I? I'm Dean Suhr. I'm a rare disease advocate and a parent. I'm not used to talking at a podium, so this is going to hold me steady. You'll see me running around a little bit later. My wife and I co-founded the MLD Foundation back in 2001. We have two of our three kids with metachromatic leukodystrophy. We lost one of them in '95, and the other one, who we were supposed to have lost in about 2000, is 34 years old and doing well. So hopefully that provides all of you some hope as well. I'm also affiliated with the Genetic Alliance. I do a little bit of work with them, a long-standing organizational partnership with them, but also do a little bit of staff work on some registry projects. But most importantly, after my first 10 or 15 minutes up here, I'm going to come down and sit with you, and I'm going to help moderate and facilitate the rest of the day, because I'm one of you. I could sit up here and be a speaker, I could talk for a long time, but really what this conference is about today is, and this week, this whole Rare Disease Week, is all about all of you. So my goals for today are to get us started, to help you engage, to make sure, particularly those of you that are newer or uncertain, that by the end of today, that you're very, very comfortable, that you understand your role as an individual, as an advocate, and as part of this greater group is important, and that you can do it. Those of you that have not lobbied on Capitol Hill, as we'll all be doing tomorrow, probably pretty scared right now, not quite sure what to do, where to go, what you're going to say, and the reality is, just be yourself, and by being yourself, you're going to do just fine. And then my other job is to manage time. So I'm going to be the timekeeper, and I'll be interrupting, and I'll be driving, and when we get to questions and answer, we're going to have to cut them short, I'm sure, because you're going to have more questions than we have time. But we'll try and circle back and get through that. This conference is part of a whole week of activities for Rare Disease Week. The RDLA is kind of the highlight of this because we're in DC, but many of you were at the film screening last night. The legislative conference, of course, today, lobby day, all day tomorrow. It's going to be the warmest day of the week, so we should look forward to that. On Thursday is the Rare Disease Legislative Caucus and the Rare Artist Reception. There's also been an ad of an additional movie screening on that day, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. And then Friday, the Rare Disease Day at the NIH. And just a quick caution, if you have not registered for the Rare Disease Day at the NIH, that's a separate registration from this event. So make sure that if you haven't done that, that you go ahead and do so. This conference, this is the fourth RDLA legislative conference. The purpose of this conference is to bring together the rare disease community and get a voice and continue to expand our voice in Washington, D.C. It's advocacy organizations, and as we discovered a little earlier, it's patients, families, parents, all working together as one. We're all the same. We're all wearing RDLA badges today because we're rare disease people. We don't need to worry about what our individual affiliations are. Our stories are important, but our affiliations are what brought us here. But today and the rest of this week, we are rare disease advocates. We're here to network, to learn, to work together, to share. There's something that everybody here can learn from every one of you, even those of you that are new on this journey. Your story is the story of all of us, and 30 or 35 million other Americans. So we're here each representing whatever that is, 250,000 people. That's a big responsibility, and so our work tomorrow is very, very important. You might want to write these quick numbers down on the bottom of this screen if you haven't already. If you don't know what to say when you walk into your meeting tomorrow, you're a rare disease advocate. 1 in 10 Americans. They don't all vote because a lot of them are kids, but their parents vote, their school teacher, their boss, their pastor, whatever, including all of ours, all vote. That's a huge, huge block. And guess what? DC cares about voters. And so we need to walk in there proud and assume the position that we're in. The bad news is rare disease is 1 in 10. The good news in DC, it's 1 in 10, and that's a huge population. 7,000 plus rare diseases. Over 50% of them are children, and according to statistics, 30% of them won't live past the age of 5. That will get a legislative aide's attention. That will get somebody's attention sitting across the table. And 95% of them don't have a specific therapy or very specific treatment. Every disease can be cared for. There's always some sort of clinical care that can be done, but in terms of a stop the progression of the disease or undo damage, most of these diseases don't have a cure, and we use that term loosely because generally it's not a cure, it's just a good therapy. But those 4 facts or 5 facts are something that will open the door and set the tone for the rest of your meeting. Thank you for all coming. There's over 200 of you here. We represent all 50 states. That's just awesome, and so thank you. And we are the voice of the rare disease community. Without you taking time in the middle of a frigid February, our voice would not be heard on Capitol Hill in this kind of an organized fashion. You'll see in a moment that RDLA has an ongoing activity throughout the year, ongoing activities where we can all participate. But this is the point where we show up en masse. The organizations participating in Rare Disease Week, over 100 different organizations and diseases. I know you can't read that. It might be in the book, I'm not sure if it is. But this is really, really important, but it's only a drop in the bucket. So remember when you show up tomorrow that you're representing other diseases as well. So that 250,000 people that each of you are representing includes a lot of different diseases. The RDLA, the Rare Disease Legislative Advocates. It's a clearinghouse. It's an organization that's focused on rare disease and rare disease policy and legislation. So that's really where their niche is. They provide resources and tools to individuals and to organizations, all free. So their goal is to help us all be better advocates and be informed about what are the current events, what are the current issues, and what are the opportunities for all of us to engage individually and as a group. They do not endorse legislation. Now, sometimes that's a little bit of a frustration because you're like, well, what's the right thing to do? But we still have our independent voice, and with the education and the background information that they all give us, we're able to make those decisions. And in some cases, we may differ. We may have different opinions on some of this legislation, and that's okay. It's important that you understand both sides, you understand the pros and the cons, and that you make your voice heard as you feel that you should. It gives us a unified voice on Capitol Hill, and this is a program of the Every Life Foundation. It's closely affiliated with Every Life, which is a 501c3. The RDLA is a lobbying organization. I can't remember what the 501 number is for that, but so they're affiliated with Every Life. You probably met the RDLA staff, or some of them, as you came in this morning. I'd like to acknowledge them. Their names are in the program. They've done a lot of hard work putting this together, and this is the only time we'll acknowledge them, so let's do that. Also important to us, people that help pay the bills, but more importantly provide the support that we need to continue to do what we do, are all of these corporate and some foundation sponsors. You see the Every Life Foundation down on the bottom there as well. This list has grown over the years, and what that means is industry is recognizing our importance and our impact as well. So that's a tribute to the work that you all are doing, and you should be proud of that and know that this list will probably continue to grow as the years go on. Special thank you to the Every Life Foundation. As I mentioned, RDLA is sponsored. The staff here all works kind of in dual roles with Every Life. And Dr. Kakis, who is the one that has kind of made this all possible, both from a financial perspective as well as from just the passion and the desire he has to see all of this go forward. And so we need to acknowledge him, and I see him in the back if you haven't met him. He's a West Coaster, so he's freezing at least like I am out here. Your conference booklet, if you haven't had a chance to look at it, is loaded with good information. And we're not going to go, well, throughout the day today, we're going to go through everything that's in there. But importantly, speaker bios. I don't have time to fully introduce all of the speakers that we'll be seeing today, so be sure to take a peek as we go through. I'll give you a few highlights. But these people have long resumes, and you want to make sure that you know about that. There are maps in there. You don't need to worry about that today, but that'll be important all of a sudden tomorrow morning. And importantly as well, in the back, as we get later on today, a little bit about the legislative activities, the bills and the policy that we're going to be digging into. We'll do that later on today. This week's events, I wanted to highlight just a couple of things on this week's events. First is, wow, that's small, I apologize. The Congressional Caucus briefing on Thursday has a new location. It's in the Cannon Caucus Room number 345. And we'll remind you again of that, but this is probably where we are as a big group. So Cannon Caucus Room 345 for the caucus briefing at noon on Thursday. So please write that down. Immediately after that is a group picture. We'd like as many of you as possible to be there for the picture to show the strength of what we're doing here. That will be on the steps at the Capitol so that it looks all good and we can all Facebook it and all that stuff. And yeah, wear your scarf. I haven't seen the scarves. Have they handed those out? I apologize. There you go. Awesome. I was in an Uber and got here at 10 minutes after the hour, so I have no idea what you all have experienced for the last 45 minutes, so I apologize for that. And then there's an add-on event that is being sponsored by Nord at 2 o'clock on Thursday. So after the photo, there is another movie screening called Banner on the Moon, and transportation will be provided and so on. So if you're at the caucus, we'll kind of shuttle you to the picture, and those of you that want to go off to the screening, we'll help you get to the shuttle buses for that, and then the reception later that night. And all of this, except for the new location and the Nord event, are listed in your books. For tomorrow, you don't have to walk quite so far from your hotel all the way up here. We'll be much, much closer, but it is a different location tomorrow morning. Starting at 7 o'clock, about 7:30, we're going to start sharing additional information with you to get you all of the last questions answered, any updated schedule changes and so on for the Hill Day tomorrow. So what you get today still could change because DC is a very, very dynamic place. So it's only a couple of blocks from the hotel. And this map we'll make available a little bit later as well. I know you don't know your visit schedules yet, but when it comes to getting to Capitol Hill, here's the Capitol. The Senate buildings are on one side, the House buildings are on another. If you're going to the Senate, you might want to take the red metro line down because it's going to be the shortest walk. If you're going to start your meetings off in the House, and most of you are going to be in both days throughout the day, so this is only for your first meeting. But for the House, you'll take the red line down and get on orange or blue, and that will get you right close there. Because I know you all don't want to walk any farther than you have to out in all of the cold, particularly early in the day. So we'll share this with you a little bit later. I know that was always a concern that was expressed was, well, I don't know where to go. You will all be in groups tomorrow, so somebody in your group, trust me, will know their way around. So you're going to be fine. No worries. Your goals for today, because this is a working meeting, to engage. Number one, to engage. All questions are fair game. I'm sure that there's a lot of people in here that say, oh, I've done this before, and I just as soon be whatever it is you want to just as soon be. But there are things to learn today from those people, and those people will learn things, and all the way down to the newbies as well. So this meeting is designed to be highly, highly interactive. Ask questions, share your thoughts, teach, learn, and at the very bottom of the screen and back in the book, I can't remember the page, I want to say 31 or something like that. There's the hashtags if you are a tweeter or a Facebooker or those sorts of things. So there's a page on advocacy, and I'll get that for you a little bit later. But those are the hashtags, and Rare Advocates is the Twitter account for RDLA. Our agenda today breaks down into 3 basic sessions. The beginning is kind of overviews of advocacy, places to get kind of a better understanding of advocacy. The 114th Congress, a lot of changes here in November, changing of leadership as well as a number of other things. We're going to learn about that. You are all able to lobby. You know, 501c3s, we think we can't lobby, but we can. And so we're going tomorrow to educate and to lobby, and we're going to have a speaker that's going to tell us about the differences and the subtleties of that. And then some different ways that you can have an impact on advocacy. We're going to help you with some skills and techniques. This afternoon, we're going to focus predominantly on the legislation so that you know what we have to talk about, what are the issues on the Hill currently. And so we're going to do that in a couple of ways. One, there's going to be presentations going to talk about the legislation. We'll talk about it as a group. We're going to then break up into smaller groups, and you'll have an opportunity to choose one of 4 different breakout sessions to polish your skills. And this is, again, focused on improving advocacy. So you need to be thinking about this a little through the day, from social media to starting a nonprofit or some of the things that are organizationally about nonprofits, particularly in the advocacy space, how to do a better job in getting your message across, and how to introduce legislation and build coalitions. So be thinking a little bit about that. You'll need to make that decision in the afternoon. And then we will also break up into the states, and you'll get your schedules for tomorrow, and you get all of that information this afternoon as well. So with that, I want to just kind of share a couple of personal thoughts with you. Last year I did a little talk about all of us being individuals and how being an individual is really important even when you're part of a group. And that's so true. And so I was reflecting on that a little bit, and one of the things that came to mind was, so what do you see? What do you think? When you all got up this morning, you looked in the mirror, what did you see when you when you look in the mirror, after you propped your eyes open and so on. And C has 2 or 3 different ways you can look at it. It's what do you physically see, which is interesting, but that's kind of transient. The important thing about C is the second 2 here. What's the mental image? What do you visualize? How does that impact you? When you're in a room like this, you're looking all around, you're saying, oh, look at all of those people. You're not looking at yourself. But I want to challenge you to look a little bit at yourself as well. And what does that really mean to you? So what do you see when you look in a mirror? Do you see a newbie, a youngster? Do you see, like in the upper right-hand corner, that slim and trim guy whose reflection doesn't quite match him? The researcher just to the left of him, there's an older gentleman that says, oh, maybe my prime is past, or I wish I'd have done such and so way back when. Or maybe they're very, very proud of what they had done way back when. What I hope you see is something more attuned to a real accurate reflection like we see here. This young lady and even younger guy or gal, not sure what that is, but they're seeing themselves. And the key thing here is that you are who you are, and we're all different. We all have different passions, we have different skills, we have different end goals in mind. Some of us have lost children or loved ones to our diseases. Some of us are just passionate about rare diseases. Some of us, frankly, it's a job. Hopefully you catch some passion, you get that from everybody else, but all of us come to this space from a different place. What's important that you recognize is that what you see is probably not what others see in you. And on the left there, somebody might think you're just a special, passionate, loving, caring, compassionate person. Somebody else might think you're a genius, you're well-informed, you know everything. You're going to come back from this conference and know things about bills that most of the rest of the people in your organization don't know about, probably don't care about. Part of your job is to help them care. So you're going to be the smart kid on the block. Hopefully you're not that third mirror, which is often where many of us look into the mirror, which is, I can't do it. I'm scared. I don't have all the information. I don't know what to say. I don't know where to go. I just don't know what my next step is. You all showed up here. You do know what your next step is. You showed up, and now we're going to learn, and we're going to carry on from here. And ultimately, we're going to teach you a few things, so you're going to be the expert. And even if you don't see yourself as the expert, all those other folks do. Because you came here, and you're getting the information and building the knowledge. So you are an important person. So I went and Googled myself, see what the world sees about me. So there's 3,200 results. I'm not sure what they all are. I've only looked at the first page. MLD Foundation, of course, Global Genes, LinkedIn, Genetic Alliance, some publications, whatever that's worth. I then looked at the pictures, and again, I apologize, these are a little small. I red highlighted the ones that are actually me, including my kids. I get the opportunity to show off my kids. That's my daughter, Lindy, my oldest daughter. And you know, I guess I've been a blonde, and I've been a brunette, and an old bald guy, and I don't know what all those things are. But the reality is, I don't care what Google thinks of me. What's most important is what my community thinks of me, and those are the people I relate to. The people that just are looking for images of me are going to find what they're going to find. But how others see me is very, very interesting. And building on that, this is my family. I got to do the slides. So again, that's my daughter Lindy, the oldest. That's my daughter Darcy, who is our youngest, who passed away in '95. And I don't know who that young guy and gal are, but grandkids as well. They don't see me as rare disease advocates. They see me as just dad. They see me as grandpa, or papa as they call me. They know that we're in Washington. They have no idea where Washington State is, close to our home, so this is the only Washington they know. But they see something different than, and again, this picture is really small, but I do a 9/11 event back at home. And down, standing on a dock, there's Senator Ron Wyden. We had him out speaking at one of our 9/11 events. While I'm hopefully going into his office and going to bend his ear about rare diseases tomorrow, he really sees me from that personal interaction as someone who's involved entirely differently. He doesn't know, and generally the people on that dock, the policemen and the firemen, don't know who I am for the rest of my life. And by the way, don't ever invite a senator to stand on a dock. They don't like that. The Capitol House security got involved. It was really messy. But what's most important to me is what these people see of me. What do all the people at our family conferences and the dads and the grandpas and the moms, those that have lost kids, those that are losing kids. What do they see in me? And that I stand up and stand for that. And that's all of you as well. You need to acknowledge that those people are seeing something different probably than you saw in the mirror when you got up this morning. Those people are seeing you as a leader. You may not think you're a leader. You may not think you're in the front of the pack. These are some pretty famous people. I'm no Steve Jobs by a long shot, but you know what, to my community, I think they kind of see me and my wife as that person. And you may relate to somebody else here. We're the ones that are doing the work, that are taking the leadership role, that are asking the tough questions, that are fighting the battles, that are paving the road for them as they go forward. And they're looking at you just like these people. We're a source of hope. The work that we do here today, the work that you do, is really, really important to them. If we don't do it, if you're not attending, the research meetings, if you're not talking to the pharma companies and so on, who's going to do it? So for those families, those people you're representing, you are a source of hope. And you may be their only source of hope. You're their connection and their stability. That's a leadership role as well. And that's something that we all need to acknowledge. You've come here to take action, right? You've come here to learn. You've taken time out of your schedule. There's some money involved and so on. And so you have stepped forward. You don't have a leader badge. There's no such thing as a leader badge. Leaders just lead. And in fact, the best leaders don't have fancy titles. Those are those that just lead. If you look at the duck and the ducklings there, the only difference in the leader duck there is the front of the pack, a little bit bigger, but it's the front of the pack. So you're not alone either, and I think that's important to remember. You are maybe leading your community, but you're not alone. All those people are along on that journey with you, and they're there to support you. We're all here to support you as well. So with that, today, I want you to be empowered or feel empowered, soak it all up, do good today, ask a lot of questions, engage. All questions are fair game. I'm going to be running around with the microphone in a little bit. And tomorrow, wish you all Godspeed as you're going through and meeting with the congressmen and the legislators and their aides. And I want to get us started on to the meat of the program. Thank you.